Hey guys, it's Sophie Cunningham here. You guys are with me during Media Day. Oh.
Let's go. Come on.
It was Indiana Fever Media Day, the kind of event where players are upbeat, media teams are present, and everything is framed in a positive way ahead of the new season. So naturally, most of what is said is polished and intended to build excitement. Still, there were a few moments that stood out, especially from Caitlin Clark, who seemed more confident and expressive about her role and value, particularly when discussing how she fits into the team system and off-ball responsibilities. But beyond the surface-level positivity, there were other comments that caught attention when looked at more closely. From Stephanie White to Kelsey Mitchell, the messaging was optimistic, but it also reflected the expectations and structure being built within the team. On the surface, everything sounded encouraging, but depending on how you interpret it, there are different layers to what was being communicated. Before getting into that, it is worth noting the new additions to the roster. Players like Maisha Hines-Allen have brought experience and versatility, and her comments made it clear that part of her decision to join Indiana was the opportunity to play alongside Caitlin Clark. That kind of alignment between player interest and team direction is something organizations often highlight during Media Day. In simple terms, her arrival reflects a broader pattern in roster building, where fit and connection with core players can play a role in free agency decisions. Clark's presence naturally influences that dynamic, not as a formal decision-maker, but as a central figure the team is built around. Media Day itself is always a mix of messaging and reality. Teams present confidence, players express excitement, and coaches emphasize growth and preparation. But underneath that, it also reveals how roles are being defined and how expectations are being set for the season ahead. In that sense, what was said publicly is only part of the picture. The real story unfolds later on the court, where those roles, relationships, and expectations are actually tested in live competition.
Winning. Being able to play with Caitlin Clark, I think that was a huge eye-opening. I had the opportunity to play with one of the greatest players that's ever going to play the game of basketball. So for me, once I also heard that, she really wants me here too, I was like, oh, well, let's get it done then. There's no questions about it.
Monique Billings also came across as a positive addition to the group, with a personality that seems steady and easy to integrate into a locker room environment. From what was shared, she appears to bring an upbeat, professional approach, the kind of presence teams often value alongside their core rotation players. In situations like this, chemistry off the court can matter just as much as fit on the court. Players who communicate well, stay consistent in their roles, and maintain a balanced energy often help stabilize a roster over the course of a long season. Billings, based on how she was described, seems to fit that type of profile. Not necessarily a headline-grabbing move, but more of a functional addition meant to support structure, depth, and reliability within the rotation.
Sure. I'm a vet. I've done this for a while now, me being in my 9th season. I know it's just coming in, knowing I'm brought here to be me, which is positive, which is light, bringing a leadership to this group. And again, having my conversations with management, why they brought me here is to be me. So if I can just continue to be the best version of myself, I'm in a good position.
Now that we've covered the newcomers, we can turn to the returning core, starting with Caitlin Clark. One of the biggest talking points this offseason was whether Indiana would be able to retain the key pieces from last season's roster. In particular, Kelsey Mitchell was a major focus, since she had options in free agency and was in position to command a strong contract. During an appearance on NBC's Basketball Night in America, Clark made it clear that one of the team's priorities was keeping Mitchell in Indiana. That sentiment was reinforced again during Media Day, where she spoke positively about their connection and described Mitchell as a crucial part of the team's identity moving forward. From a basketball standpoint, that kind of continuity matters. Mitchell provides scoring pressure and experience, while Clark operates as the primary playmaker. When those two are in sync, it creates a more stable offensive structure and reduces pressure on both in different stretches of the game. Media Day comments like these also reflect how teams try to maintain consistency heading into a new season. Returning players are often framed as the foundation, especially when a franchise is still building chemistry around its core group.
think that speaks to like why she continues to sign back here is like she enjoys the people that are here, and she also feels loved and cared for, and people are here to serve her as well, but she does it in return too. So just really fortunate that she's back here. I know I've said this before, but she makes my job a lot easier when you have somebody in the backcourt like that. I mean, I don't think there's nobody better in the league for me to play with, so just really fortunate and lucky.
You will hear a similar tone if you look at the Maisha Hines Allen clip again in that context. The idea that Caitlin Clark wanted certain players around her comes up repeatedly, and it highlights how important fit and continuity are becoming for Indiana. If the Fever want to keep her long-term, that kind of alignment between player input and roster decisions will naturally matter. At the same time, the discussion around Clark's role on and off the ball has become a recurring talking point. The media is clearly aware it is a sensitive subject among fans, especially given how much her impact is tied to having the ball in her hands. Her media day responses were professional and measured, but they also reinforced confidence in her ability to adapt within the system. From a basketball perspective, the balance between on-ball creation and off-ball movement is always part of system design. Coaches like Stephanie White often emphasize versatility, and that includes using a star guard in multiple ways depending on matchups and lineup combinations. The challenge is finding the right balance where the players' strengths are maximized without reducing overall team efficiency. When comparing different voices around the team, there is a consistent positive tone, but each perspective reflects a slightly different angle: coaching structure, player chemistry, and individual role expectations. Kelsey Mitchell's presence, for example, adds another layer because of her scoring ability and how it complements Clark's playmaking. Ultimately, what stands out is not disagreement, but different focuses within the same goal: building a system that works over a full season.
It's chemistry and wanting to play free, and I think Steph did a good job of showing that throughout the course of the world. And me being able to play free last year was just one of the things that you want to sell to players that's trying to win. And I think that with CC and AB, I think we done a really great job of building a chemistry that can't be broken. And I think that it's something to really hang your hat on because we trust each other. We constantly building with each other, and I think practice lately has just been really great for us because you get to see the free agents and the ones that do come in, really see how we gel and hopefully get embraced.
Again, that is a positive message in general. She expresses gratitude to her teammates and speaks positively about the atmosphere, which typically indicates a positive dynamic in the locker room. The concept of comfort inside the system is one that sticks out. When players claim that a coach lets them play free, they typically mean that the coach has enough structure, clear duties, and confidence to make snap judgments without second-guessing themselves. Usually, trust between the coach and the player is necessary to acquire that kind of independence. Stephanie White's remarks reaffirm her desire for players to feel at ease in their assigned roles. Although innovation is still possible in structured systems, they still function within team concepts including as defensive accountability, tempo, and spacing. Because of her importance to the attack, Caitlin Clark is a player whose role and versatility are frequently discussed. Coaches typically attempt to strike a balance between structure and freedom with high-usage producers in order to maintain system efficiency while yet enabling individual skill to emerge. Therefore, when you compare player remarks, you are actually hearing several viewpoints on the same system. One that focuses on team structure, another on personal rhythm, and still another on how both may coexist over an extended season.
She's huge. I don't think there's a faster player in the league with the ball than Kelsey Mitchell. I don't think there's a scarier player in the league to guard one-on-one than Kelsey Mitchell. And, for us, putting her in position to do what she does best so that she doesn't have to think about it, she can just do it, was a priority. And Kelsey and Aaliyah really put us on their shoulders, and they elevated us to that next level. And Kelsey is a player that you want her to reach the.
It's common to notice distinct tones when a coach discusses different players, but it's important to avoid misinterpreting these differences as bias or partiality. Stephanie White's comments about Kelsey Mitchell typically highlight his scoring flexibility and confidence because Mitchell's main role is to create shots and score from the perimeter. When a player plays that kind of role, coaches usually emphasize empowerment, which enables them to attack, comprehend defenses, and sustain aggression. The discourse inevitably shifts with Caitlin Clark since her job as a significant playmaker is more complex and system-heavy. Coaching comments regarding her usually focus on structure, space, and decision-making because she affects every possession. Despite appearing more constrained, in most systems, controlling the offensive as much as possible is more important than limiting a player. As a result, the tone difference may not necessarily represent the coach's feelings for either player. It shows the different responsibilities each player has within the same system. IT is more of a strategic basketball issue than a personal one when it comes to the off-ball debate. In modern offenses, even the most adept ball handlers must occasionally move without the ball to obtain space advantages, sway opponents, or create opportunities for secondary actions. When coaches discuss that, they usually focus on overall effectiveness rather than devaluing a player. Additionally, Clark's responses to those questions show her confidence in her ability to high-usage guards often adapt to the system when they enter structured team environments. In the end, position descriptions are discussed more during interviews than partiality. Several players are being discussed through the lens of what they're expected to perform on the court.
I think a little bit of off-the-ball stuff. I think mostly on dead balls. I'm the best. I think I'm the best transition player in the league. That's where I thrive. Everybody knows that's my game. So, getting the ball off of rebound or in transition, that's probably when I'm going to be the primary ball handler more than anything. And then, getting off the ball a little bit and catching your breath. It is exhausting bringing the ball up 94 feet versus pressure every single time. So we certainly need to find somebody that can handle the ball a little bit and, give me a little bit.
When it comes to PR, Caitlin Clark is clearly very aware of how her words are received. At this point in her career, anything she says is analyzed, replayed, and interpreted from multiple angles. That's part of being a high-profile player in a modern sports environment. Her responses around usage and role tend to reflect confidence in her abilities, especially as a primary ball handler. From a basketball standpoint, statements like that are often less about directing strategy and more about expressing competitiveness and belief in what she brings to the game. At the same time, coaching decisions around ball distribution are usually tied to system balance. Even elite creators are sometimes used off the ball to open spacing, create movement advantages, or involve other scorers in rhythm. That's a standard part of modern offensive design, not necessarily a limitation on a player's importance. As she enters her third season, naturally there will be attention on how her role evolves within Indiana's system. That includes how she is used alongside other key players and how the team continues to structure its offense around her strengths while still maintaining balance across the roster. Roster uncertainty and contract timelines are also part of the broader context, but those are normal elements in professional sports cycles. Teams regularly evaluate fit, performance, and long-term planning as seasons progress. Overall, what stands out is the ongoing development of both the player and the system around her. That kind of evolution is expected for a young star still early in her professional career, especially one already central to a team's identity.